Thank you for being here this evening. We'd like to go ahead and call the City Council work session to order on Tuesday, June 20th, 2017. At this time, we'd like to move to a roll call, please.
Councilmember Chapados?
Here.
Councilwoman Dusty?
Here.
Councilmember Manfredi?
Here.
Councilmember Smith? Here. Councilmember Wade?
Here.
Vice Mayor Brown?
Here.
Mayor Price?
Here.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Great, thank you much. That'll take us to the first item on the agenda. The mayor and council shall review items on the regular City Council meeting agenda. Council, any questions at this time on the regular City Council meeting agenda? Nothing? Okey doke. If we're good with that, we will move on to item 3.2. The mayor and city council shall hear reports on meetings and or conferences attended by the council. Council, this time, the time is yours. Yes, Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so Councilmember Manfredi, myself, and Martin, and Denise, and Gregory had a fun experience where we went to take a tour of the container park that's in Las Vegas. And I know some of the other council members also went on a previous trip, and there might be a third trip in order to get everyone in. And I don't recall anyone talking about it previously, but I may be mistaken. It was very interesting, and if anyone in the public has not actually looked it up and looked at a container park, an exciting idea, but basically what it does is it opens up opportunities for entrepreneurs to have available space that's small enough, the lease is short enough, the lease rate is low enough that they can afford it and experiment. A really interesting concept. So I know we're seeing if we can find any developer that might be interested in something like that for Maricopa. But, take a look at the container park idea and see what you think. I think it would be very fascinating in the city of Maricopa. I also attended a briefing on the pedestrian bike overpass, which is also happening out in the lobby. In case anyone in the audience didn't get to stop, they'll be there until 6:30. And that is a pedestrian bike overpass, which has some interesting options in how will people get over the railroad tracks once the overpass is in, if they choose or can't, or find that getting and taking the sidewalk over the vehicle overpass is quite extensive. And so there's some ideas that help administrate that in terms of overpass options for pedestrians and bicycles. But something interesting to look at, and if you have any ideas on what you might think would really work, I think that's important to take a look at. But I found it very interesting. I also attended a MITA meeting where we discussed roadblocks for developers in the city of Maricopa, which I found really interesting in terms of what they perceive the roadblocks are for them. And obviously we all know we're working on those roadblocks. So I don't think anything was really earth-shaking in terms of what they had to say, but I think it was a good discussion on what developers feel the roadblocks in Maricopa are. And then I attended the chamber lunch, which had a presentation from our Apex business and on their progress. And they're making some really good progress despite some of the opposition that's facing them. And they're not stopping, stopping dead in their tracks. They're actually trying to do as much as they can with as little risk as possible considering the opposition. But it was a very informative discussion, and I know they're going to be at the Pinnell Partnership meeting, breakfast. Is that this Friday? This Friday morning. So if anyone's interested, you can buy a breakfast ticket and come out to the Pinnell Partnership and hear more about their progress. So a good 2 weeks. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember. Anyone else? This time, Councilmember Wade.
Yes, sir. I attended the Promise for the Futures event over at Central Arizona College. I got there a little late due to traffic and what have you, but got a chance to talk to a couple of the young people and parents, and got a chance to meet the new recruiter that is working. She has a vast area. I mean, she covers Arizona and New Mexico as far west as Washington State. And so there was a very interesting conversation with her. The gist of it is that it is important that young people have options. It's not everybody's going to college, not everybody's going to a 4-year. Not everybody's going to go to community college. There should be other options available. And she was pretty emphatic about that, and so I could see her as a good resource. So it was good. I'm glad I was able to make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Vice Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I had the pleasure on the 10th to attend the Arizona League's quarterly meeting of the Business, Finance, and Economic Development Committee, and our main theme that meeting was Queen Creek wanting to have the state more aggressively push tourism. It seems that tourism is not as pushed as much as it should be, and Queen Creek's very upset that the state should do a better job of that. Something else that we learned is Queen Creek has a bed tax, but with no hotel. Thought that was interesting. Thank you.
Sounds familiar. Thank you very much. Yes, we do, with no hotel. Let's see, anyone else at this time? Nope. All righty, thank you very much. That'll take us to item 3.3. The mayor and council shall discuss and provide feedback on the Great American Fourth updated traffic plan. This event is Tuesday, July 4th from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Copper Sky Regional Park. Naisha, take it away. Yes,
Good
Councilman
evening,
Wade.
Honorable Mayor, Price, and Council.
Sorry, Naisha.
I'm sorry,
Councilman
Naisha,
Wade
just what's
has-
that, and when I saw Naisha, it made me think about it. We attended the pool and movie events here on Saturday night, and with the foods and what have you, it was really very well attended. It was a really good job, and we enjoyed it quite a bit. You know, I don't think my grandson saw the movies in the water all the time, so, but it was really good. So I just wanted to mention that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Naisha.
Okay, so some concerns were brought to my attention after the Salsa Festival in regards to the traffic plan and signage. Commander Hughes and I came here tonight to give you an overview of the current plan, clarify any uncertainties, and answer any questions that you may have. So I'm going to jump to the ingress egress. Oop. Okay. So this is the ingress egress map that we use for vendors loading in, loading out, as well as our community members who will be coming into the park. And so the community, well, let me tell you what the icons are first. So the little squares with the little officers holding the signs are the police officers, and those are the areas that they will be stationed. And then the P with the numbers on them, that stands for Pro-Am, and they're the contracted staffing that will help us with doing the cash handling in the parking lots, as well as being attendants and directing traffic. So the current plan is to have community traffic filtered through Gate A. We will start to fill the south paid lot and then filter additional traffic into the overflow area. Parking in the south public paid lot and overflow lot is $5. The west lot, which is usually reserved for staff and vendors, will be a VIP paid lot for this event. So the price will be $15 to access that lot the day of the event. On one end of the parking lot, it will be barricaded, and we will have cash handlers and attendants stationed in that lot. And so you can see the barricades in the second slide, but I'm really not going to go into detail on that one. That's just more for your reference. So that one will be paid, so that will be different with this event. The ADA lot will remain the same, will remain in the same location, and all the overflow for ADA will be directed into the spaces in front of Copper Sky Complex in the actual ADA spaces, and then if we still need additional ADA, we will put them in the west vendor parking lot, and that's labeled on the map as well. The north VIP lot will be by pass only, and we will have a Pro-Am attendant checking passes at this entrance. So please note that there will be no cash taken at this lot. Due to budget constraints, we had to minimize bodies in the lot, and so as you can see in this lot, we really try to do a good job of putting some hard, really good barricades in strategic areas to minimize the amount of staffing and to help with our budget. And then we're going to go into shuttles a little bit. So the shuttles will be different at this event. Instead of coming through Gate A on MLK, they are actually going to come and turn on Bolin, and they will head east on Bolin. So they will drop pedestrians off over on Brittlebrush, so there will be no main arteries for pedestrians to have to cross in order to get to the footprint of the event, and then they can just walk into the park from there. So Gate B will have a soft closure. So on the map that you're looking at right now, it's barricaded, but there is a yellow arrow for egress. So if we do need to open it once it gets really bad, we will go ahead and push that open, and we'll have some PD volunteers out there directing traffic at that intersection. Shuttle service will begin at 5:45, and it will end at 11 o'clock p.m. And please note that at 8:15, MUSD will stop shuttle service in order to get the people who are on the shuttles to the event in time to enjoy the fireworks show, and they will not resume until after the fireworks show. For the past 3 years, we've had 11 buses service 7 locations within the city, but due to budget constraints, we need to minimize costs, and so we're going to reduce that to 7. So I want to forewarn you that there's going to be longer waits for people to get home, and I don't know, buses are going to fill up pretty quickly, so that will be an issue that we'll need to look at. So that's it as far as my end. We have been in touch with Auction PD as well as their event planner. Their show is scheduled between 8 and 8:30, and then they'll assist us. They will have someone in command with us, but I will let Commander Hughes kind of take over from here and go to the details with that plan. Do you?
Yes, Councilmember Manfredi.
Thanks, Anisha. Question for you. 11 to 7 buses, how much are we saving?
So they're reworking the quote for me because they want to do some in-kind. They understand that we have to be good stewards of our money, but they also want to contribute. So they're going to do some type of in-kind, so I don't have a hard number for you. But right now, the quote is at $3,134, and what's budgeted for the buses is $2,000.
So the 11 is 3,000?
Yes.
But we have 2,000 budgeted for it? Mm-hmm. So $1,000 difference?
Yes.
About? But we know it's going to cause problems? Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Color check.
July 1. July 1.
Mayor Price, Council, how are you tonight? My first slide, I'm going to go over some of the challenges in this event. My second slide, some of our solutions, and then we have the maps for additional questions. Of course, the Auction fireworks is preceding this event, 8 to 8:30. Farrell Road is currently under construction. It's due to be completed June 23rd of this month. I've received assurances that it will be complete. If not, that would certainly cause a problem because that is really one of our only other options out of the event. Of course, it's a Tuesday, so Amtrak will arrive. It's scheduled to arrive from 8:52 p.m. to 9:02 p.m. With discussing some of the sergeants and lieutenants, it's usually not 10 minutes. They said it's usually closer to 20 minutes at times. So that, of course, is a challenge. As you're well aware, the limited pass of egress from the event. And with this event, ingress, when people get there, is not a problem. It's the mass exodus when the fireworks are over and everyone's trying to leave. Of course, 347 northbound, traffic congestion. And concern for traffic and pedestrian safety. Pedestrian safety is probably my biggest concern for this event because we have a lot of people and not a lot of lighting. And we've put in some safety plans where Gate A, where it goes across 347 to Altera Parkway, that will be closed off for pedestrian. We closed it off last year with the officers, but we'll put signage out to make sure they're not going across there. Because from Gate A, which is the southernmost gate of Copper Sky, there is no sidewalk going northbound all the way up to Bolin. So we need to keep the people inside the park for the most part to get safe travel. And of course, we have our typical parking, traffic, crime-related issues in the contiguous neighborhoods. We will be having officers patrolling those areas, Desert Cedars, Palo Brea, Altera, to the best we can to try to mitigate that factor. Our mitigation strategy. We met with Auction PD to detour traffic to Peters and Null, which can send it up to White and Parker as a contingency plan if Farrell Road is not completed. Auction Police Department have been tremendous, and Aisha and I met with them yesterday. They assured whatever cooperations they need, they will push their traffic southbound and handle the detours on their end with officers to utilize Peters and Null to get it up to White and Parker. We will then, have officers staged at White and Parker in our main intersections just to keep the traffic flowing. We have a request into both railroads on the feasibility of altering their schedule, at least try to give us a little bit more of an accurate timeline when the Amtrak is going to be there, and also Union Pacific Railroad as well, too. My biggest fear, of course, is if Amtrak's shutting down 347 and we stack Union Pacific units at Porter and we shut Porter down too, then we got nothing but southbound options. So we certainly don't want that. So as the event gets closer, we'll have more information regarding the railroads. I like the change. That night she came up with the shuttle drop-off on Bolin Road. What that does is that keeps the shuttles out of the interior of the campus, and it keeps our main artery open for emergency units. So MLK has to be open, in my opinion, to get emergency units in and out. So having it there kind of shortens the shuttle route, and they can go right up through Brittle Brush and get the shuttles moving in a more efficient manner. And the nice thing about that is the pedestrian flow. If they're dropped off near Brittle Brush, we'll have an officer to cross them, MLK going to the east, then they can just utilize the sidewalk and through the parking lot and go right up between Copper Sky recreation facility and the lake to access the event. I know that Parks and Recs are going to be, Community Services is going to be working more to define the pedestrian route, but that is a concern that I have is pedestrian safety, and especially utilize the 347. I spoke with Lieutenant Campbell, our night shift commander. Fortunately for us, we do have additional units on Tuesday night, so we'll be bringing them in to manage the lights north of Copper Sky. But as you guys know, you've dealt with this event for many years. Once 347 gets saturated, there's not a lot we can do. But if we can have officers at Porter and MCG, utilize that route, get them flowing, that's the best we can do. And we also talked about another contingency plan. If Murphy's Law pops up on us and 347 is gridlocked on us, we'll just push the traffic down southbound and also have detour signs set up for Farrell or Peters and Knoll, or possibly both, to really try to get the traffic flowing. Because with large events like this, you don't want people to be stagnant, hot weather, aggravating kids, alcohol, whatever factors are there, we don't want them sitting there. We want to give them perception that we're moving them. And that's very important. That's my plan is for the interior parking lots, which is all the ones the Copper Sky parking lots. They'll be going north through Brittle Bush, because that's the reason. My logic for that is it keeps them moving, and it's a place for me to displace 200 to 300 cars going up to 347. At least we get them out of the complex. It looks like they're moving along. We'll have an officer at Gate A. 2 officers actually, and they'll be flowing the traffic northbound and keeping that number 2, which is also known as the slow lane, keeping that open. So they'll be coming out as fast as we can. But the best laid plans, once 347 saturates on us and accordions on us, we're very, very limited with that. And we'll also be allowing south access from Gate A. That'll be a little bit tricky, utilizing that third middle lane to go southbound, because we realize that a lot of people do park in the contiguous neighborhoods and walk there because traffic concerns and other stuff. I think I pretty much hit everything. As far as crime from the event, we've been very, very fortunate, a lot of good residents, so we don't have a lot of stuff. We have a few arguments, we have a few minor, minor domestic violence or verbal argument situations like that. So fortunately, in the past years, our PD staff has not been overwhelmed with, you have a couple fights, a couple problems, and we lose 4 officers, and we only assign 5 officers to the event. And we're also counting on those officers to deploy to traffic posts, just before the fireworks. So we've been very fortunate that we haven't had any criminal-related issues, but that is a concern. If we have a couple major events, they will sap our resources very quickly.
Council, questions? Yes, Councilmember Chavez.
Commander, I know last year one of the pinch points was if you're in the north lot, the VIP lot, or that lot right next to it, when you're trying to get out onto MLK, if we could have a sign or somebody there saying exit to 347 northbound, take them out through Gate C, because a lot of people didn't realize that Gate B, Graythorn, was shut down. people were turning left thinking that they could get out that way and go on to Boland, and it just kind of created a gridlock. I saw a lot of people doing U-turns and that kind of thing. So maybe as they're leaving the north VIP lot and that other lot, say exit to 347 northbound at that spot on MLK Boulevard.
Mayor Price, Councilwoman Chapados, yes, we're going to do a hard close at Graythorne.
Right.
We'll man at Graythorne and Boland, we'll do a soft close just because I want people to have access to a police department in case there's an emergency scenario or something like that, where they can get to the police department and get help. But yes, we will have officers staging on MLK and also at Gate C to push that traffic, and we'll also have additional officers. It doesn't have a name, but I call it the South Access Road that links MLK to the south parking lot. That is a major choke point right there as well, too.
And then the other thing, and this may be more of a Naisha thing, I know last year there was a lot of confusion about oversized vendors having their trailers in the far end of the north VIP lot, people that weren't sure where to park, and for whatever reason, Pride had their person 3/4 of the way into that parking lot driving lane. So you had a congestion in that lane. People that couldn't park were trying to make U-turns. They were trying to get back out. If they could have that person stationed closer on MLK Boulevard, I think that would help, so they can cut them off before they actually get into the lot and start maneuvering.
Okay.
Thank you.
Council, other questions, concerns? Councilor Wade?
My question leads to the West VIP paid parking. What makes that VIP, and how do people know that that's VIP before they get there, as opposed to going into the south parking paid?
So this is something new that we were trying to do just to bring in additional revenue. That's been a big topic lately, and so this has traditionally been for our vendors, but we don't have many vendors for this event, so we knew we would have a lot of space, so we wanted to try to utilize it to get some additional dollars. So that was the logic.
How do people know?
There will be signage out there. We'll have some lot attendants as well.
So, but they won't know until they get there that they
Yeah,
can go.
we've been pushing it on social media, though. We've been doing more advertising cause we're going to be selling those online. So we're doing pre-sales for those. So,
Right, thank you.
And just another piece of information, Mayor Price, that I left out. The closing on Boland will be by a patrol unit at about 8:45. So it'll be open for the ingress and, as people continue to trickle in. But when we deploy our units to get in their positions for traffic control, that is when Boland will be closed down. And that officer will be there allowing the shuttles to move through.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns,
Mayor,
thoughts?
I did have one
Yes.
question. Mr. Reister, if you would, I think one of the issues of concern is the bus situation. As I understand it, there could be some potential problems that are created for having a shortage of buses. So I guess my question is, how do you plan to address that issue? Christie?
Well, as Naisha mentioned earlier, we are working to, see if we can get in-kind, and otherwise we're working to find it somewhere within our budget so that we're able to have the appropriate amount of buses.
Okay. Yeah, I just would hate for council to leave and be of the impression that we won't have adequate buses there.
No, we will, we'll find a way.
Okay.
Councilman Freddie?
Naisha, so, and Christie, question then, so you're telling us that there will be 11 buses?
yes,
So no matter what happens, there'll be 11 buses?
we will make it work.
All right, good, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. That concludes this. Thank you very much for your presentation. We appreciate it. That'll conclude our work session for this evening. At this time, that takes us to the need to move to E-session. Can I have a motion to move to E-session, please, council?
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, first and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. We'll adjourn to E-session.